Hi, I'm Trent Gustus of Keller Williams Realty. In this report, I'll talk about the condo townhome market in Calgary, average prices, days on market, and inventory supply.
To help make our stats a little bit more relevant to you, I'm going to divide up the city into different quadrants. We're going to do the inner city, the northwest section, the southwest, and what we're talking is west of Sarcee, because we would consider anything east of Sarcee to be inner city. The deep south, which would be Fish Creek, Chaparral, Mahogany, all of these south areas. And lastly, we'll do the northeast. At the end of the video, we'll go over the whole market so you can compare how your numbers match up with the overall. Okay, so for the month of July, when we look at inner city townhomes and condos, we're not talking about apartment condos here again, 72 sold listings, and those were sold at prices between $434 and $472, and the average price per square foot for the median price, that's what most buyers are buying, at $341 a square foot. And the average, which was usually a little bit higher, at $351, which included a townhome, priced at $1.6 million. Now we look at the sales last month. We can say that was 100 sales for June, and those prices were $320 a square foot to $339 a square foot. So the prices were a little bit higher, and it probably wasn't due to the fact that we had a higher sale here, because the median price was also lower, and people were buying $350,000 on average townhomes. So when we look at for July of last year, same scenario, 72 sold listings in July exactly, and so not much change there. $297 a square foot was the median, and $313 a square foot was the average price, and buyers were buying $380,000 condos on the average sale price. So when we look at in terms of an inventory supply, we can see that we've got about 2 months supply of townhome style condominiums in the inner city, and they're priced at anywhere from $371 a square foot to $384. Now the buyers are looking for properties priced between $437 and $479, and the availability in the market is more towards $547, which is quite a bit higher than where the buyers are looking. So some of these listings may stay on the market for a time. As you can also see, some of the units left over are of the larger units. So now we'll move on to the northwest section. Moving along to the northwest, 92 sold listings for townhomes in the northwest here, and they were priced at $275 a square foot on the average, and $271. Now when we look at how that compares to last month, 102 sales in the month of June, and they were priced at $274. Not much change actually in the price per square foot, not even much change in the average sale price, so things are remaining about the same, except for a few less sales for the month. Now we compare that to last year, 88 sold listings in July of last year, and they were priced at $244 a square foot on the median and $247 on the higher price. And we look at the sale prices, everything up on average about $20,000, and people were getting what same size units for a townhome condo up there. Now we look at what was available in the inventory supply. We actually have a pretty close race here, so there's not that much. If you're a buyer and you see a property that you like, you have to kind of take action here, because 112 listings is fairly close to what the 92 that sold in the previous month. Now the other factor though is that with the price per square foot, we actually have what's left on the market is actually priced a little bit higher. As we can see, the square footage is actually on average a little bit about the same, if not smaller, and the list price is well up from where the buyers were really looking. Not on the median though. On the median price, we're seeing $324. So where most of the buyers are looking, they're finding a more competitive price, and they're finding it actually though priced higher per square foot. So what was out there last month looks to be a little bit better than what's available now. Now we're going to move to the southwest section. We're talking west of Sarcee, Aspen, these areas, Signal Hill, and so forth. Okay, 43 sold listings for the month of July for down in the southwest for townhome condos, and they were we're looking at 445,000 for the average sale price and 438 for the median, where most of the buyers are buying. Now, if we want to compare that to the month of June, 45 sold listings, and what's notable here is that there's not any parity between average sale prices and prices per square foot, and that's why I always like to look at the prices per square foot. You'll notice here that we got 428,000 was our average sale price, or median sale price, where most of the buyers are buying for June, and that's up 10,000 for July. You think, well, the market went up in July. Well, as a matter of fact, they got less per square foot. The average buyer got paid less per square foot in July than they did in August, where they paid $323. So these numbers often do not follow each other. And I might say that the price based on price per square foot, sellers got more money in June than they did in July. Now we want to look at the sales last year. 32 sales last year priced at $299 a square foot as opposed to $308. So we're definitely talking about an increase in market over the previous year. Now we're going to compare our inventory supply. We've got 43 active listings and 43 sold. So there's a month's supply in the Southwest. So there's not that much to buy really. If you're a buyer looking at something, you got to take some action. Having said that, what's you're probably not very happy with is these prices here. So the buyers were really buying at 449 to 452, and the median price of what's available is 465 to 508, and it's priced significantly higher per square foot, which so the sellers are a little bit they're demanding a higher price, and it's probably because they know there's not a lot available. There's only a 1 month supply, so it really is a seller's market for townhomes in the Southwest. And now we'll move to the Deep South. Evergreen, Silverado, Cranston, Mackenziestown, all these South areas. Now in our Deep South section, 80 sold listings, and they're priced between $270 and $276 a square foot, and the buyers were paying as much as $322,000 on the average. Now, as we look at June sales, 101 sales, so we're down about 20 sales here, and the prices were a little bit lower per square foot as well in the month of June. So comparing that to last year, 60 sales last year, so definitely a big increase for July in sales, 20 sales more than we sold last year in the same month. And the pricing is substantially better too this year. $246 a square foot was where most of the buyers were, and they were purchasing those at as high as $255 a square foot. And when we look at our days on market, we're actually close to last year. It's not changed all that much, really. Now, when we look at the market from an inventory supply point of view, we can see we got 87 active listings for townhome condos. So that's very competitive market as well. And we can see here that the buyers were looking to pay around $270. They were looking at properties that the active properties were on the market at $275 to $280. So this median price is going to fit that fairly well when we look at where most of the buyers were buying. We're actually looking at around $275. That's not very far off. And what's left on the market is actually a little bit larger properties. So the only problem with all of that, them being larger, is that the buyers are really looking for properties priced between $319 and $327. What's available is priced between $340 and $365. So buyers are, if they can't qualify or they can't move up a little bit, they're going to experience some problems if they can't get up to that 350 mark, and that's going to hurt them a little bit, and it's going to hurt the sellers too. And next we'll look at the northeast section of the city. Okay, so 43 sold listings for the month of July in the Northeast, and they were priced at $239 a square foot, and buyers were paying about $241,000 for a townhome condo up there. And there's, as we compare to June, 48 sales, so not very similar, and pricing actually looks like similar as well, although it looks like they got a little bit more per square foot in July than they did in June, which is kind of a little bit of an increase. And we compare that to last year, 34 sold listings in last year, so the sales are definitely up. And the pricing is definitely up too. Last year, the median where most buyers were buying at $194 a square foot. They were buying properties just under 200,000. This year, they're having to buy properties just over 200,000. So that is definitely a big change in what's been happening in the Northeast townhome condo market. Now we look at the supply and what's available. There's 96 available currently, and 43 sold. So about a 2-month supply up there. So there's an excess of properties up there, and looks like they're priced about the same square footage, but they're priced substantially higher too. So as a seller, you need to know that that there's a 2-month supply available, and looks like the median group though is going to be still continuing to sell properties when you consider that the list price is about the same. So, but for the most part, they're asking quite a bit more, $242 a square foot on the median. That's opposed to $229. So, as a buyer, you're probably looking at this and thinking that if they tell you the market's really hot, well, there is a large supply up there. So the market may change there as well. And as a seller, you got to know that there's a fair amount of inventory up there. So raising your price or asking a higher price may not be in your best interest, because as we go into the fall season, it's likely to sit on the market. Okay, so this shows what's available, by price group versus what's sold for all condos in Calgary. So we're talking about the dark lines are July, and the light lines are what's available in August. And these are mostly every 50,000. So when we look at this, if you're looking for something below 150,000 and you see it, you should buy it, because 7 sales last month, and 4 currently available. So nothing available there. Same goes up to 200,000. There's not much more available than sold. When you go up to 250, though, there's a full third more available than sold. So you actually have some inventory to look at, and all these price ranges, except when we get into some of the price ranges around 400 to 450, 61 sales to 88 is pretty healthy, meaning that not much more available than sold. And then as we go up in price, and of course the higher end stuff, you can imagine that there's 35 available and just 2 sales in the month of July. So you got to watch yourself if you're a seller, and you may have your property on the market for a fair length of time. But this gives you a very good idea what's happening in your price group.
Realize that the market news I've just given you is based on the whole market. And there's a whole other study we can do on the area that you're looking to buy or sell in. Your area may not move according to the whole market, and realize that average sale prices don't mean that a specific home would go up that percentage based on the whole market. Average sale prices sometimes mean that people are buying more expensive homes. Back when I started selling real estate, over 90% of the homes I sold were expired listings or homes that other agents couldn't sell. During that time, I learned from my clients the many frustrations that they had selling their homes.
Yeah, we had the home about, twice with some other agencies, and they couldn't sell the house. We don't know why. It's a beautiful house.
There was not any interest shown at all in our home by anybody that came and viewed it.
Too many of the other MLS realtors who'd come to show the house, they wouldn't have a clue.
We didn't get any feedback on our showing.
Last time our house was in the market about 3 months, and we've never got any offers.
It's for these reasons I have a very detailed approach on the way I sell my clients' homes. But here's what my clients had to say.
So we tried to put our townhouse up for sale October of last year, and it just wasn't selling, you could say. We had some show homes in the beginning of October, and a lot of people came, but no one really made a really decent offer, and we weren't getting any feedback. After the last 2 months, about November and December, we had no showings, no one was coming, and we weren't really hearing from our real estate agent anymore. So come January, a friend of the family told us about Trent and how that he had helped them sell their house, and
Don't forget how we got that in the mail.
And how we got in the mail a pamphlet that said, guaranteed we can sell your home. In which case we both decided we'd call Trent.
And give Trent a call. And
Trent came in the very first day that he came to see us, and he said, well, let's look at the market, let's see where we're sitting at in the market, and let's make a plan of how we're going to put this up so that it's more appealing than everything else in the market in that kind of zone that people are looking for houses, in that price range, in that category, being a townhouse. And basically what ended up happening was, as soon as the house went up, exactly what we had predicted with Trent was going to happen, happened. And in a very, very short period of time.
I think it was like one day?
I think it was one day.
Yeah.
We had an offer the first day and took it. Trent gave us extremely knowledgeable advice on how to deal with the initial lower offer, and it resulted in us maintaining a lot more of our value in our house.
One of the things that I noticed was really nice about how our house sold was that there was a video that was taken for YouTube, and when we went to go see it, we fell in love with our home again, not to lie. It just, it put our home in a light where you wanted to live in it. It talked about, you know, the great things that we loved about our home when we first walked in. Just 2 blocks down, there's another house for sale that didn't have that quality of videoing, and it didn't show the aspects of the home which we fell in love with, which we found that other people did. And watching the video, you realize that we boosted so much more of our traffic coming into the house. People who were looking at it, they already were interested before they even showed up. And right away, just from the first day, we had, you know, 3 or 4 people walk through that all wanted to make offers. And assuming if we wanted to stay on the market longer, we could have easily sold the house
5, 6
times over.
Well, I think what the commercial does versus just having an MLS listing with pictures and then someone has to call and then come and see it is it takes the same thing that companies do, but he does it for you on an individual basis. Companies, when they want to sell something, you see it on the commercial while you're watching the NHL playoffs or something, and you go, this is awesome, I want it. And that's exactly what his commercial does. You see it and boom, you want it.
We had our home listed for 4 months in the fall, and it just didn't sell. We had a little interest at first, but then it just died down. After the new year, we got some information in the mail from Trent, and he was able to show us the advantages of video marketing, and he showed off our home to its best advantage. You know, it's not a show home, it's not a new home, but it's a comfortable home. And he was able to show that and get that information out to lots of people. And we had so many showings. We had, you know, 1 or 2 showings a day. Some days we had so many showings we weren't even able to come home for meals. There was that much interest in our home. Another thing Trent was able to show us was that the market was actually good in November when we had our home listed before, and that was when there was no interest shown in ours. And there were homes selling in this neighborhood for actually less than what we got for ours just this past week. We sold it in about 4 weeks with Trent, and we're really excited to be, you know, that we got a price that we're happy with, and moving on.
This is just 2 examples, but in 13 years of marketing homes, I've got hundreds of examples of turnaround situations. High and low-end homes, fixer-uppers, show homes. I've marketed a home just like yours. So call me today for a low-pressure interview to discuss the sale of your home.